Hi, Clark. How are you today?
I'm great, Nicole, and you?
I'm fantastic, thanks. I
Good.
appreciate you coming on and having a little video chat with me. We just did a thing, a little
Indeed.
hypnosis coaching thing, and wanted to check in with you and see how that was for you.
It was um it was moving, it was changing, it was a spiritual experience, I would even say. Your intuition that brought out some roadblocks that needed to be dismantled in my world, and it was a deep and cleansing experience. Uh, I felt like I was in this high stress mode a lot of times driving, and I would take that experience in or with me wherever I was going. And I believe from a physical and mental health perspective, resulting in high cortisol levels that just these weren't checked per se. But now, after going through the experience, the follow up coaching, and I want to say a mindset shift, but it wasn't that simple. It went deeper than that, because what surprised me about it all is that not only do I drive now in a much calmer fashion, find things that would stress me out before to be hilarious now, but it has affected other areas of my life where anxiety would, even if it was just on a low roar, is not there any longer.
Beautiful, beautiful. And what are some of the tools or the mindsets or the things that you really took on and adopted that you feel really helped you make these shifts? Because you did it.
Um, the recording was useful, particularly before bed. The reminder that I placed in my car of the Holy Spirit riding with me, protecting me inside the car and outside the car. And the latter experience really helps with me to check in and immediately, where are you? And then where do you want to go? And that's a growing experience as well, because my my use of it now is very different than it was in the beginning. In the beginning, it was, "Who, this doesn't look good," and now I'm not sure where I'm going or if I even want to go. To now using it as a springboard to say, "Ah, okay, I'm here. That's okay. How about we go there, and let's level up a little bit." And so those three things. The coaching certainly was useful in that um, I talk to think. So I wouldn't come up with the epiphanies, if you will, if I'm left to my own devices, as much as encountering you and your intuitive mind and heart that makes it easier and better and deeper is a word that kept coming up. Um, that in other forms of, let's say, counseling or whatever, I had not experienced in the past.
If you're willing, I'd love to like hear more about that. How was this different than maybe counseling or therapeutic processes you've done before?
Sure, as in now. Um, a phrase that I've heard in the past is talk therapy, and I get it. So I'm not a long term therapy guy, but I have had moments, um, best described by a gentleman as as situational depression. So, not full on depression, but I have somehow got into this space where uh, a series of actions or inactions, even, have led to this down spot and just needed to have this talk therapy and kind of talk it out. Um, Nothing against counselors at all, but I might have been able to talk that out with a friend as well, where the work that we did, I think, and I even told you this more than once, that there's something going on that I can't quite put my finger on. I don't know what it is. I just know that it's happening and it's good. It's lighter. It's easier. So that and my guess is, not being an expert in this field, but that it was the hypnotherapy part that really, this is where your intuition took my bits and pieces that needed a little bit of cleaning up and adjusting, and a more loving, kind, easier, lighter way to look at these things, um, that made changes inside that I couldn't have made just talking on the outside. Um, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And how was that process for you? I mean, I'm starting to call it more of a meditative state because, you're in control the whole time. I'm asking you questions, but I'm curious, like, what was your expectation and what was it that you experienced? Is there a difference in those things?
Yes. If I remember correctly, it's been a long time since I did any hypnosis work, and what I remember of it was getting into that state, but then not really participating.
Mm,
That I was in the state and someone was talking to me. And our experience, how it was very, very different, was that you were prompting and challenging me to dig in that state. So that was very different, and not, I mean, you set me up to expect something like that, but that's not what I had in my mind, but my mind from previous experience, right? And not what, the guy on the TV making people cluck. I mean, I knew we weren't doing that. If I thought we were, well, yeah, not sure we would have continued. But anyway,
yeah.
so that engagement I did not expect, and that became valuable, because then the toolbox you created for me was mine. It wasn't It wasn't this generic set of tools. Here you go, have a ball. These were tools made for me, and then you showed me how to use them.
Yeah. Yeah. And how do you feel? I mean, we really worked together for just about a month, a short period of time. And I
Yeah,
mean, do you feel set up for those tools to help you long term?
I do. Yes,
Because,
absolutely. Um, well, I think that's where the coaching played into it too, and maybe some of the longer term stuff that we talked about may be beneficial in that I get busy, I get distracted, I get this is happening and that is happening, and maybe forget. Oh, wait a minute! I have this little toolbox over here that is just for this. It's made just for this, and to go be reminded. Hey, have you? Did you? Would you? Um, yeah. So that's what I think about that.
beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah.
And was there anything surprising about working together?
the most surprising thing, and I've mentioned, is that it we set out to work on something fairly specific, but holistic healing occurred, so that my reactions turned to better responses in many different areas of my life, not just me in the car.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
by myself, which was one of your very first intuitive questions when I mentioned how I can get a little wacky in the car. And you, one of your questions was, most of this time, are you by yourself? And I just never put that together that, oh yeah, yeah, I guess I am. Um, so it was a piece that made me stop and think about that a little bit. And yeah, better. Uh, I oftentimes can behave better in front of people than I can on my own.
Most of us can, yes.
Yeah. So that was a nice little wake up call there. You know, that spending time with me is important too, in a calmer, happier, serene space. Just because I'm not with others doesn't mean that I have to be anxious and I don't know that angry is the right word, but that's a little strong. Uh, but what would I say? I mean, I was surprised just that the idea that this is an anxiety thing, because I would have never thought prior to doing some of this that I was an anxious person.
Hmm.
But that is the end result. That's what was being created. And I was the creator. So,
Because,
because I'm the supreme commander of the universe. And when people don't do what they're supposed to be doing, yeah, that's exactly why.
yeah. Awesome. Awesome.
Well, that was a piece that changed too, was to really dig into that idea that this person that is making me anxious in whatever way is not doing this to me on purpose. They have no idea who I am, probably that I'm not even there in a car near them, and that they are someone's mother, brother, father, sister, friend, cousin, aunt. I mean, they are a human being in this world just as I am, and that, you know, sometimes there's still that piece of me that goes, really, but it's not. It's not. It doesn't raise up into that way of red alert that then carries over. Um, and I got to tell you, good for you works a little bit. I that was new for me, and I used it quite a bit that first week, and then I would laugh,
Yeah.
and you know,
Yeah.
anyway,
And that's what's so wonderful about you, Clark, is your sense of humor. And it's just been a joy working with you because we can take this time and laugh about these things as well. You know, we're working on it, but we're laughing through it to make it a real experience that you can take with you. And, you know, I hear the lightheartedness in how you're responding now with some of this laughter and the good for you and all these things, which is so much lighter and less anxious than it seems the way you were reacting before.
yeah, no doubt about it. Yeah, no doubt about it. Um, and I don't think that, as you said, a month. I don't think that this is 30 days of work to say, okay, I have been healed of this. because I don't. I know that this is still a work in progress,
Mm-hmm.
and and from other work I've done in my life, I realize that it gets easier and it gets better. And when you have these tools and you continue to use them, that it is me from an interior perspective that can continue to grow and change and be better and wiser and more comfortable and peaceful. Peace is the ultimate goal,
Yeah.
right? We talked about that early on, and that wasn't the first time that's been brought out of me. That peace is the goal. Um, so getting there takes a little bit of prayer and different thought processes, and that interior change that I think happened in our meditative experience, as you called it. That I am convinced too that there was a letting go that happened that I didn't will it to happen. You
Yeah.
brought your framework to make it happen,
Right.
and that was a result, was a letting go of that title, supreme commander of the universe. Just let this go. um yeah, so
Yeah.
that, see, those are some of those pieces that are hard to quantify, and just the in the old brain, when I believe that it was more of a spiritual experience. That's really what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. And you don't have to, share any details about it, but how much do you feel was connected to a lot of those things that you experienced as a young man that were still there in the background, giving different signals and flags and fears and things like that? How much of that like young man, that young boy, do you feel was heard and kind of guided through a process to heal?
Way, way, way more than I ever expected. Uh, I I had a feeling that that was going to be part of it, but now I would say, looking back, that it's all of it. It wasn't part of it. It was all of it. And and my guess is that there, while we had a couple specific things come up and that we talked about, um, that there's possibly more. But I think when you start that healing process in that arena, that it again, it it expands. It it takes care of other things that maybe weren't direct, but because of the work and the clarity and confidence that comes with saying, you know what, I don't have to own that any longer, or hold on to it, or internalize it, if that's yeah,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can be free. So free leads to peace.
That's right.
um, yeah, that's what
Beautiful.
I'd say.
Beautiful. And so if you had a buddy who had a little, just tiny little road rage problem, what would your advice, just like not like, hey, go to Nicole, but like what would your advice to him or her be to help notice what's being triggered and how to, in essence, take take the wrench away from the monkey, right? Take the trigger away.
um, well, I think sometimes people need to just be asked a question, so
Hmm.
that maybe they can start searching for their answer, whatever that might be. So the question might be, well, what is triggering that for you? It um and depending on who it is and what kind of time you have, but you know my sense is that most people would probably be like me and say, well, it's that other person that's triggering this. Well, they might be the other person or car or whatever it is, might be the catalyst for, I was going to say, my anger to come out, which is probably right on. I was going to hedge that and edit, but that's probably right. So, uh, how do you get that person to discover that for themselves? By asking them what, and then them looking at me like, because this has happened, but not in this exact framework, but um, right away people want to say it's them, it's not me. And so then the next question has to be, well, I don't know, there may be some other things. Are you willing to at least explore that or think about that? Or yeah, and it's enough. I'm a firm believer that if you can ask enough questions to at least get someone to think, and or um, experiment with, right? So okay, you don't have to do anything, but are you willing to at least think about this and maybe try this and see what happens?
Yeah. So that's an interesting point. What happened for you when, ha ha ha, it's not all their fault anymore? Like you started taking responsibility. What was that? Because I know there's always difficult emotions that come up at first,
Sure.
but
Um,
what let that in to where it wasn't self-blame, but it was no longer, oh, it's everybody else's fault.
um, in well, in my world, it's I'm a child of God, and so are they.
Yeah.
And something
So
that
how
I
do you know
bristle.
that now, how do you know that now in a different way than before? Right? Because the trigger was there before.
Well, I had never considered that.
Okay.
There's that, right? I had no one had ever get drawn it out of me in the way that you did, that allowed me to get there. Um, some of the responses or reactions from people in my car when those sort of things were going on were always, what's the matter with you, right? Talking to me, which, of course the walls go up then. And it was never someone asking me, and I don't know that you asked me this directly. So my sense is it's the process that helped me to get to that, to be more authentic on who I am, right? Because if someone in a loving, kind, casual way said, that they are a child of God as well, right? And I was in the right frame of mind, I would go, oh, yes, you are 100% right. But I think that discovery process, the bringing along, the coaching, if you will, but that's not quite the right word, prompting maybe, uh, is what allows that more authentic self to come out, to
Right.
be who you are, or be who I am. I mean, that's the ultimate, right?
Right.
That's
Right.
so I can, when I see the facts, right, I can quickly say, oh man, what are you doing? And then I want solutions. So I don't get to that place and get depressed about it. Oh my God, I'm such a bad guy. It's more like I get to that place and go, oh, silly boy, this is really where you're supposed to be.
Mm,
And then the heart and the mind and
right,
kind of has to work that out,
right. So
So
something
now when I'm
happened.
cussing at someone,
Right,
you know, and the
right,
next thought is that's a child of God you're cussing at over there. Oof, you know?
right. And like you said, you came to that. It's always fascinating.
Yes.
We
Yes.
can give, if we were in charge of fixing everybody else's lives, they would be fixed. If only they would listen. And isn't it funny how we really listen when we have the space to have it come up and we can see it in a place where we're willing to see it, right? So it seems like you knew something was up, so you gave me a call and then you were willing and we created a space for that willingness to play and explore and experiment in a safe way. And then the answers came up for you. Maybe it was
Right.
prompts or whatever. But it sounds like you were able to take that advice because it came from you and this place of healing that younger boy. And
Yep.
so you really heard it and saw it in a different way because it came from you, because it was your idea.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Um and I think that um is human nature, right? As a
Yeah.
friend of mine and I were talking the other day over a variety of things, and we were talking about me possibly giving someone else some advice. And he said, well, that's probably going to work really well in that situation because, and he was talking about how if his sister told him he should do something, he is going to put the brakes on. No way. And it was just I'm an only child, so it was interesting for him to just tell me that in plain language, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I get it. That makes sense to me."
Yeah.
Um,
Because all the advice is out there. I mean, you could have gone onto a website, how do I stop getting so angry while driving? And it would have listed it out for you. But until the experience matches what you're willing to change, matches what you're feeling, matches what you see, matching what bubbles up for you, right?
yeah,
That's usually like, it's like you have to have your own epiphany for
right.
it to happen,
100%.
right?
Yep, 100%.
I mean, and that's what I find in a lot of this work is my advice doesn't matter, but the questions matter. And when the questions are spot on, you can come to your own answer and then you hear it.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with that 100%. Yeah.
Awesome. I really appreciate you having this conversation with me, Clarke. It's been such
Yeah.
a joy to work with you.
Likewise. Thank you.
All right. Thanks so much, Clarke.